Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked. And for this segment, we are doing another blind deck date. And I'm really excited to introduce you to our two contestants today. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, we are going to be going on a little date with the Moonlight Dream Tarot and the Water Temple Oracle, and I'm super excited. The reason I chose these two decks was honestly that I felt like the colors really matched in the covers, the boxes of the cards. So let's just kind of see what energy and frequency we're going to get on first blush, on first glance, as they are meeting one another. And I'm super pumped to see how this is going to be. These decks are very different stylistically, just in the actual cards, but the card backs, let's take a look. So first of all, so much similarity here. First of all, we've got this beautiful snowflake, so kind of in a rounded shape, forming a round shape coming out. We've got a lot of the blues. There's a little bit of dark, sort of the black or the indigo that's coming out here. And then we've got light at the ends. Here we have a beautiful flower. The light is in the center of the flower, and we also have these little light peaks at the ends of each of the flower's petals. We have some of that dark that also is shown in a little bit of the back of the card. This is a matte finish, that beautiful kind of rose petal feel. And this is a linen, and it is a matte finish linen deck. So not a lot of sheen and shine to it, but definitely slightly different in their materials. But there's a lot of connection and commonality at first glance right off the hop. Okay, so this is also a very traditional sized oracle deck, and this is a very traditional sized tarot deck. So no surprises there, but let's just kind of take a peek and see what the imageries are about. So here we have the Ace of Pentacles, and this is a card deck that every card is in this beautiful blue hue. That's kind of the thematic energy for it. And here we've got some brighter colors, some bolder imagery. Here we just have hands. We're not seeing a person's face. And here we're seeing a beautiful woman. This is rejuvenation. I cherish the time I devote to myself. There's a pool of water behind her. The water looks green, green for healing, spring water, rather than the blue. She's in a building here. There's a building behind her, but it looks like the sun is shining in. And here we are outside. There is no building, but the structure at the sort of the backdrop is a beautiful mountain. We see the light that is coming up over the mountain. And there is beautiful light that is coming from the Ace of Pentacles here. So I would say to you, there's not like a ton of similarity, but it's not offensive either. It's just a very different style. She brings the light, and she is the focal point of the card. And here the Ace of Pentacles brings the light, and it is the focal point of the card. All right, let's do another first impressions here and see what we get. So we have, another ace, the Ace of Chalices, the Ace of Cups. So initiation, we have a beautiful peace dove. We've got the moon in the background, and the peace dove is sort of sprinkling its beautiful light energy into the cup. And once again, we have a hand that is holding the cup. Here we have the Underwater Temple, growth. I consciously change and evolve. We have a pregnant goddess, a pregnant woman. She is under the water. There is an underwater temple. She is using the energy and the frequency of the water to create what it is that she's wanting to create. She's not giving birth, but she looks pretty pregnant. So she's probably going to be giving birth soon. And that's where that growth is happening. So again, not a ton of similarity in the image, but it's not super, repulsive to one another either. There's definitely, a lot of focal point is north-south. focal point here is also north-south. The figures that we need to be paying attention to are kind of in the right spots. The dove, the peace dove, is up high. She's up high here. We have that circular moon shape. We have circular shapes coming out of her hand, also at the top half or the top part of the card. And that ace of chalices coming up from the bottom. So, we'll do a couple more here for first impressions and see how things are going. Differences, but not bad ones, not like glaring differences. Here we have the Hermit, and we have the goddess Aphrodite, Blossom, I bloom with love. So again, not a lot of commonality in the colors, but they go fairly well together. Again, they're not offensive. Lots of flowers here that we're seeing, beautiful, soft pink roses. And she's got the darker hair. Her eyes are closed. The Hermit single, so we've got a single person in each card as well. So she's kind of in meditation mode. And this card always makes me think of the Hermit who's actually getting ready to leave the Hermit's cave and to, take another journey, that he's done kind of the self-awareness journey and he's ready to move, kind of into the bulk of what he came here to do. And so I do feel that they're both in a meditative space. This one is more, I want to say, meditative in that active way. And this one is doing more of a traditional passive meditation. One final card here, and then we'll dive into the specifics. We have the Two of Wands here, and we have Red Tara, Revolution. I am a fierce warrior of love. So here we have a lot of snow. We've got some mountainy terrain in the background. Here we have snow and mountainy terrain in the background. Snow is always about purity. We have some starlight here, and we've got a lighthouse that is kind of a beacon in the distance, and we've got the two roads. Here we're seeing the action. So she's already in motion. She has set her sights. She's got her aim on something. And that Two of Wands is really a card of direction. What direction am I choosing? What path am I going to take? So there's some similarity in here. Okay, so that's kind of our first glance, our first blush energy with this deck. Now, let's see what they kind of, I want to say, the spark, what unique chemistry is going to emerge when their voices blend. So we'll pull a couple of cards here. And so I feel like we've ordered the first drink, and that's not a bad thing. We're enjoying kind of, testing the waters and seeing what's going on. We're curious about what we're seeing. Not necessarily love at first sight, but we're curious and we're open. So when we're talking about that spark, the unique chemistry that emerges when their voices blend, this is interesting because the Three of Swords is often about heartbreak, betrayal, but it's also about self-care and healing. And we have Goddess Rati, quest, I am divinely guided. I'm seeing that, the goddess energy, like there's both the central figure that we're first drawn to is at the base of the card. This is kind of a heart shaped, and this is rounded, but similar kind of curving shapes that are happening. And she's standing on top here. And here we have the electricity, right? We have the lightning that is coming down and affecting what is going on. She's actually standing right on the moon. So when we're talking about that chemistry, what I'm feeling here is this goddess is very curious. She's very curious about what's happening. She's dancing, but she's also paying attention to what's coming at her. This is a dragon. It feels like a Chinese dragon. And maybe she's trying to get away from the dragon. Maybe she's trying to connect with the dragon. Maybe she's bringing the dragon into her space. But I would say to you, when we're talking about that Three of Swords energy, there is reflection. And sometimes when we are feeling betrayed or we're having to kind of heal ourselves or there's a heartbreak, we are running away. We're running away from the pain. We're running away from, perhaps the person that caused the pain. We're running away from that overall experience. So the unique chemistry I feel here is that they both are maybe approaching life in a slightly in a similar way. Their coping mechanisms are a little bit similar. And she's saying, I'm divinely guided. So she's saying, I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to trust my spidey senses to get me out of this jam or to get me through. And here with the Three of Swords, it's saying, I'm going to go within. I'm going to do the healing. And that can also be a divinely guided experience. Let's talk about a clash. Where might these cards clash? Where might their personalities challenge each other or cause some tension? This will be interesting. Oh, okay. Excuse me. So this deck has 4 bonus cards, and this is one of the bonus cards. So we'll talk about that in a second. So it's the Moonlight Charging card. Excuse me. And then we have Saraswati Temple, knowledge. I open my heart and mind. So when we're talking about the clash, where might their personalities clash? Right away, we can see this is filled with color, and it's very bright and bold. And I want to say the growth and the healing is coming from above. We have peacocks. So like, look at me. I'm standing out. We have swans here, very much about the starseed energy and shamanistic energy and the goddess. And I mean, this is just very in-your-face metaphysical, very much an in-your-face kind of card. And the knowledge. I have all the knowledge and I have the confidence in my knowledge. So there's no point in hiding it. The Moonlight Charging card is interesting because this is saying we don't have to be so bold and out there in order to be able to get the message across. And the magic and the healing comes through more subtly. It comes in the dark. It comes in the night. You don't always have to be staring at it. A watched pot never boils is what I'm hearing with this card. So when we're talking about where they might clash versus where they come together is in their, sort of coping strategies, coping mechanisms. Where they clash is in how they are, I want to say, out in the world. So this deck is much more extroverted in its approach. And this deck is very introverted, very much about the quiet, subtle, intuitive approach. And this is about the bold, brave, hey world, look at me kind of energy. So I feel the clash can come in when you're getting a reading and you're tapping into the guidance of this. This is going to be softer. It doesn't need to be hit over the head with the messages. It kind of wants to give it to you gently. It wants to allow you to intuit it for yourself. And this one says, I'm leaving nothing to chance. I'm just putting it out there. This is what it is, and take it or leave it. So I do feel that they're a little bit opposite in their approach in that regard. All right, hidden layers. What unexpected truth does one bring out in the other? Oh, interesting. Another two of Swords. We had the Three of Swords and now we have the Two of Swords. So Two of Swords is, I like to say it's the shit sandwich card. I have a choice to make between shit sandwich A and shit sandwich B. All things being equal, I'd rather not, choose any shit sandwich. But in order for me to get unstuck and to move forward, this is what I need to do. And the intuitional approach is going to be the best approach, right? So not making the choice from a logical, rational perspective, instead making the choice from an intuitive perspective. And here we have a two baths of Aphrodite, nourishment. I bathe in the sacred springs of love. So very interesting. We saw her earlier. We saw Aphrodite earlier in one of our other card pulls, I believe. Yes, Goddess Aphrodite. So that's kind of interesting that that's coming up again. We talk about the hidden layers. There are some similarities here. They do want to be together. They do want to work together. They do want to be mirrors for one another. And maybe the extroversion helps to mirror to the introverted, deck where they can kind of expand and grow, or where the gift is in the lesson. So here, the Two of Swords, like I said, shit sandwich A, shit sandwich B. And this deck is saying, don't look at it from that perspective. How can you change that around and allow it to nourish you? You can clean these things off and you can step into the sacred springs of love. Don't feel like this isn't based in love, or don't feel that because it's really challenging or difficult that you can't apply love to the solution. So I feel like those hidden layers, the unexpected truth, I feel is that this deck, the Oracle deck, really wants to support the Tarot deck in making sense of the message and giving positive action steps to take in order to be able to apply the guidance that comes through, to apply the action steps that come through, and to maybe ease into it a little bit more, to make it a little fun, rather than so brooding or so internal. This is about, you don't have to do this alone. Come and bathe with me and we'll figure it out together. I love that. That's really pretty. Okay, and here is our future date potential. Who will these two, let me just pull out my messaging here. These two decks, if they kept working together, what guidance would they co-create? So this is interesting, the Emperor. So we've got a lot of divine masculine energy coming from the Tarot deck. And let's see what is coming through with, I feel like there's two stuck together, but maybe not. Yeah, no, there's two stuck together and I want the top one. Here we go. All right. And Ren and Agir, if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I apologize. Co-creation, I unite with the power of love. So I really feel like if they keep working together, this deck is going to gain a little more confidence. This is the deck that is going to say, okay, with your help and with your support, I feel like I can interpret these messages a little bit more. I don't have to do everything alone. I don't have to be so internal about everything, and that I can take action steps and feel really confident in those steps, knowing that I am going to have a modicum of success. Sorry, I've got the hiccups now. The co-creation piece, I unite with the power of love. I feel like this deck is basically just putting it out there and saying, you don't have to guess with me. I'm not going to keep these things a secret. I'm going to give you the message right away. I unite with the power of love. I'm going to help you co-create whatever it is that you want. And I'm going to do it from a place of love. So whatever your message is going to be, whatever the guidance that you're going to give that comes through is going to be, I'm going to give you a loving message that allows you to apply the wisdom. So even though from an aesthetic viewpoint, an aesthetic purpose, they're not a perfect fit. And we do have some issues, right? In terms of how they want to communicate. I feel like through the reading, we kind of worked through some of those issues to really come to the end of, oh, I see you now and I understand you and you understand me. And so, it wasn't the, it wasn't the easiest date, but I do feel like they got through the first drink and they've decided by the end of the first drink, at first they were like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm probably going to be gone in about 40 minutes. And now they're like, no, you know what? I think I'm ready for a little bit of dinner. Let's have some dinner. Let's explore. Let's talk a little bit more about this partnership and this pairing. Ooh, I'm kind of excited to continue working with and see what happens. All right, guys. So that is our segment of blind deck dating. I hope you enjoyed this segment. Please feel free to like, subscribe, click the bell on my YouTube, check out my join button to let's keep the conversation going and go a little deeper. Become a fabulous Phoenix. There are 3 different levels if you are so inclined. And otherwise, until we see you for another episode of Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Life, sending you lots of love and support. We'll see you on the flip side, and transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture, Divining the VIP Life.